Hi everyone. We're here at Creative Operations New York 2019. My name's Amy Strickland and I'm here with Eric Squires from Nickelodeon. Hi Eric, thanks
Hi.
for coming.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your role and how you got to do what you do.
Great. Eric Squires, of course, you just said that. I work SVP of Creative Operations and Project Management over our preschool promotions team and our global experience design team, which is our theme parks, our hotels, and our live touring theatricals. In the pre-K side, I oversee the management of all of the marketing, promos, tune-in, and all of our marketing in promotion of our pre-K schools for Nick Jr.
Cool, cool. So, sounds like a big job. It's the first thing you
Yeah.
do when you get up in the morning.
Pinch myself. No, I'm just kidding.
That's great.
No, I do love working at Nickelodeon. We all do. But first thing in the morning is normally, you do some troubleshooting. You do some catch up from the night before. It was easier when we were all centrally located and just working in New York. But now with the global experiences, we're all over. So while I'm sleeping, a lot of other people are working. So first thing in the morning is catching up with what happened overnight, as well as getting out any communications or emails to the people who are getting ready to go to bed. So we try to get those out, and we kind of cross over with the time zones. But that's first thing, and then planning out the day, of course, and then just trying to catch up through all the trades. In media and experiences, things happen so fast, and there's so much going on. I try to spend the mornings, whether it's my train commute or first thing when I get in the office, catching up with everyone around the globe, and then catching up with the trades.
As you know, no 2 days in creative operations are the same, but if you could talk to us a little bit about what's a typical day in Eric's life.
It starts normally with meetings right away, right from the start, and a lot of those are planning meetings, a lot of those are review meetings, a lot of those are just general communication meetings, whether that's with staff or the creative teams or executives at Nick. And then you go in, and then you obviously have time, you try to carve out time for your own work, whether that's emails or your own long-term planning or long-range projects, which is, I find, harder and harder to do as we get busier and busier on the day-to-day. But if we try to carve out that time and make that time there so that you can focus on that, it helps. But normally it's meetings, it's creative reviews, it's production planning, and it's trying to stay in touch with the people all over the globe working on all of our projects.
Yeah, great. So with a team that's that big and that distributed, what are some things that you do to try to keep the team engaged, to engage with the team, to keep everyone up to date?
You know what? We try to be very deliberate and very specific about planning catch-up time and planning communication time. And not just meetings, but planning status check-ins, planning conversations, and scheduling them. I think you have to be very deliberate in getting them on the calendar. As you know, in this day and age, everybody lives by their calendar, and if we don't put it in there, we lose track of it, and it's not going to happen. And in general, I know this sounds a little trite, but I do try to just sometimes just walk around the office and stop in and talk to people and stop by people's cubicles and desks and offices and knock on the door and do pop-in visits and try to have conversations.
Yeah, great. So despite all that, things still go off the rails, right?
Yes.
So what's your approach to solutioning with your team to try to get something that's really gone off the rails back on track?
The first step we try to take is get the main players involved in whatever went off the rails, to use that quote, and figure out exactly what happened. And it's less about figuring out what went wrong or who did something that they shouldn't have done, but just where are we and what happened and what actually has to be fixed first. A lot of times when people have those issues or challenges, they try to jump in and solve everything at first. And I try to tell my team, let's just figure out what we have to solve today or what we have to fix today. And then tomorrow we can get into fixing it on a longer term. And it makes it a bit easier because sometimes it's not as bad as you think it is.
Sometimes
it's
so
not
a very hands-on approach, it sounds like.
Yeah, we try, and that really, across the board at Nickelodeon, we try to do it that way. It's a great company because it's less about figuring out who did something wrong, and it's more about rallying the troops and figuring out how to move forward.
Yeah.
Which makes it a great place to work.
Oh, that's great. So you touched on this a minute ago, but with all the day-to-day that goes on, deadlines, meetings, people issues, right? How do you carve out time to do your focused, concentrated, strategic work?
Well, I try to do a third for the day-to-day immediate work, a third for longer range planning or long-term projects, and then I try to reserve a third for staff development, whether that's one-on-one meetings, status reviews, conversations. I try to do that during the day. Of course, some days are different than others. Some days just go away completely. But I find for me, I have to put it in my calendar, and I have to treat it like a meeting or treat it like a task. Even if, if I have a presentation due, I don't just say I'm going to work on it that day. I try to put it in at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, and I'm going to work at it for an hour and a half, and then I don't let anyone interrupt that time.
Yeah,
and
so commitment to yourself.
Yeah, and it's very easy to say sitting in this chair. It's very hard. I'm sure you know.